I'm gonna make one of these today.
Let's do it.
We've over tripled in size now.
And taking us to the next level. Thanks for my moolah.
Go. That's all the work I had to do today. I just had one order.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see you on the next
Yeah,
video.
All right, this is my sewing headquarters. This is where I do all my stitching when I'm not hand stitching. Over here is my press tools, and you know what?
Done.
We're done. That's a really dusty lens.
Is it? Getting dangerously low.
Getting low. The key is to do this without. Come on, say that again to the camera.
This look familiar? You can sell things online with your own store. If you're...
Okay, that looks so much better on a DSLR than it does on the phone. I'm shooting this on a Canon, and I'm finding it so much easier to get the exposure right. Shooting manually on
But Stephen and I are so simpatico that it was very
on just the EOS camera. That looks so much better. And getting the focus
a very strong idea.
is
The basic of the idea was
easier.
action-adventure cliffhanger.
And it's nice that I can get a bit of blurriness and depth of field at the back there.
Once those were set, then the processor
Yeah, that looks so good. I can dial in a little bit more light, and talking head stuff would be so much better like this. Like if I was using this. Yeah. Just pretty much using one light and the outside light as well, and
It was inconceivable to me that we wouldn't find the right actor to play.
and that works well. You don't need much. You don't need many lights to get a. As long as your composition and framing is okay, that can work.
Monitors? Did you not use your monitors? The difference in the strikes that landed was not so great that it was impossible, depending on biases and spatial positioning, to come to a John Jones fight. I think watching in high definition on the UFC broadcast, I just don't see what the... Okay. What you cannot say is that the damage was equivalent, right? So in the modern context of how fights are judged, octagon control is not relevant. And that was a specific rule that was instituted circa 2016 or so, because they realized sometimes backing somebody up can really mean a lot and is really. I could understand a case for John winning. So you look at the title of this video, and the video was Dominic Reyes robbed? No, Dominic Reyes was not robbed. There is not a case to be made, even under modern unified rules, that Dominic Reyes was robbed. It is especially not true that he not. The UFC, it is not merely that you have incredibly suspect judging. It means you have to change the style of how you fight. It means you actually have to retrofit your game to fit an arcane system. Wow, that is very... Didn't force fighters to change their game. Fighters could have their game, and the scoring criteria adapts to that. The old scoring criteria forces you into a style that isn't necessarily... John was pressuring into him. The damage was too excessive on the side of Reyes to score that round for John. In the case where the rounds were, clearly for John, rounds 4 and 5, or in the case, that's where he is the most dangerous. That's why it was a really interesting way that John was fighting him, because you were putting Dominic in the condition to do the best kind of work that he can. You cannot take UFC title fights back to Texas in good conscience until that is changed. It is just unethical. You're affecting people's lives. You're affecting people's money. You're affecting people's legacy. History. You're fighting an uphill battle merely against the scoring criteria. I do think it is worth that you could say Dominic Reyes.
Okay, it's got a bit of a tilt there.
Welcome to Thursday. It is Meet the Press Daily. I'm Chuck Todd here in Washington, and we got a big show tonight. Michael Bloomberg's candidacy is grabbing headlines, endorsements, and attacks from the president. We're gonna.
Okay, using the Canon on a glide cam. This is my preferred method of walking or running and having stabilization. On the iPhone I use a gimbal, and gimbals and glide cams, they serve one purpose, and that's to give you nice footage, steady footage when you're moving. Okay, just gonna readjust the glide cam. Moving forward, that looks very steady, really. That's got no hands. Now I do. I've put my hands on the bottom of the glide cam there, just to give it a little bit more steadiness. Well, what it really does, it keeps it straight. That's all it really does. You don't want to do it too much though. Okay. Now the glide cam can be slightly heavy, no doubt. these kind of shots, when you're relying on your arm strength, try to get them once or twice. Don't dwell and keep on doing it over and over again, because you're gonna injure your arm. But yeah, now that it's nicely balanced, I just got to work out where the wind's coming from, because that will make it sway a bit. Yeah, look, there's a bit of wind at the moment and it's swaying a ton, but I've got my fingers there just to keep it steady. And I'm getting very, 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 very good steadiness. Okay. Today I'm going to do most of it by shooting using the Canon. It's a bit of an older Canon now, but it's a bit of a workhorse when it comes to using DSLRs when I'm filming, particularly filming. I tend to use this with a 18 to 55 millimeter zoom, and that pretty much handles a lot of the run and gun steady cam work that I'm doing. Either that, I'll switch over to an iPhone, but I really dig this camera on a Steadicam. It works really well for me. It's got pretty good focus, in particular when you're shooting at f12 or something like that. I find that the focus is pretty good. You don't have to muck around with it too much. This is a particularly bright day. I wouldn't usually shoot in this light, but you have to do that every now and then.
He also did talk policy. Take North Korea, for instance. General Kelly said, never give his nuclear weapons up. He's talking about Kim Jong-un. I never did think Kim would do anything other than play us for a while. He did that fairly quickly. I don't think the president was the fact that General Kelly said he's not for it.
He's going to continue to speak out. I don't think that he's necessarily looking into crossing up one of the cameras and a player in that game. That's really not how he wants to handle this. But he does strong views about public service.
Okay. Check this. I love the light in here at the moment. This is the garage, and currently the garage is lit by a bit of late afternoon light that's just sort of streaming in from those sort of like church arches. Wow. It looks good. Looks good. Hey, there's this type of plate, man. I'll show you these ones, because there's no round ones anymore. There's no round ones anymore. These we can use.
Meron ako nakita kanina, dami pa.
Really? There's only this in there.
Hindi, meron pa.
It's only them, right? It's only Sarah and Kerwin. What are you cooking? What's that?
Fried rice. Fried rice.
Okay.
Ano yata? Kasi you might need it.
Huh?
Oh, bakit may dala pa kayo? Jesus, pambira. May dala pa kayo! Ano ka ba? Pambira.
Hold on, I gotta get my keys. Or go around the back.
Ano ka ba, Vincent?
Okay, I switched over to 720. Which is how I can get the frame rate down to 50 or up to 50 on this camera, so it doesn't shoot this camera doesn't shoot 50 frames at 1080.
5 taon kami doon, ano. Sabi ko, tita, sabi ko, yung sweldo ko dito, tsaka doon, sabi ko gano'n. Diyos ko, makakabili ba ako ng mga bahay doon? Kahit mura yung bahay nila, dahil maliit ang sweldo. Samantalang dito, sabi ko ganyan, naka-afford kami na mag-invest ng 2. 5 taon kami sa States, wala akong naipon.
How many years were we there?
5 years. 2,
I was
3.
only there for 3, I think. 2 or 3.
Kasi ikaw, umuwi ka agad dito, kaya kami napauwi
5 years. Oh.
Alam mo yung
I didn't like it.
super annuation ko na nasa state super ako noon. Yung maganda yung ng super na yon. Kinuha ko lahat yung iniwanan sa Gasusin na lang natin.
Ba't pag iniwanan nyo, tita, mag-ano pa yon?
Hindi kasi mag-ano pa yon. Tapos meron
It's in
yung
the fund.
noon, yung noong super, generous sila. Malaki yung kinikita mo. Malaki yung binibigay sa yung
Plus
monthly.
they were investing it in good things
Oo.
back in the day.
Tsaka hindi, unlimited yata yun. Hanggang buhay ka, sige. Ganun.
Okay.
Yung ngayon, iba na. Kaya ginawa na lang namin, kinuha na lang namin. Kaya
Pareho kayo ni tito po.
oo. Ayun naman ang ginagastos namin, ilang taon na ako. 2014 ako nag-retire. How many years? Kaya, sabi ko, ano lang tayo, unti-unti natin yung asset natin. Kasi unfair din naman sa'yo kung kunyari may investment ka tapos bibenta mo. Laki ng tax, Capital gain tax na binayaran namin the previous year, 140,000. Hindi na tayo
Gas, tita, tama. Natuto na kayo, tita.
Oo, natututo na ako.
Dito, mas madali po yun. Magamit niyo yung oras.
Driver na, pa.
Kita mo panay angal, panay parinig.
Enjoy niyo po yun, tita.
Oo, tita.
Start mag-drive.
Ay, naku! After so many years na hindi ako nagde-drive.
I think you're doing fine.
Magaling at
I think you just get a little bit nervous. Just a little.
Hindi, kasi syempre.
I think that's normal though.
lang shit, hinay-hinay lang.